Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people, rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective, it's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is, where the heart's uncovered. Where you detox from all of the lies you smothered. When them tries could have killed you, but with faith you recover. Yeah, peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up, execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal, breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe, so down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to reflect on all the Jews like taught you. It's on you, tell the truth.
Yeah, we about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Listen. Yeah, aim in the fit so you see in the mirror. Play with your focus and watch it get clear. Polish your crown, turn it up if you will. You live in the root, release what you're fearing, and watch it all rise. The righteous will hear it. They calling us twisted, I'm not even caring, because it's unseen. The mind is too barren. They won't even heal it. They pass it to cheering. We over here healing, conversing and listening. Know that the truth isn't always appealing, but end it with healing and find your beginning. Frequency positive, what you receiving. Perception is up to you, what you believing, what you retrieving. Mentally speaking, life that they breathing. No words from a heathen. Don't know it all, but together undefeated. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation, rather want it, you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the trial with the students and teachers. All got a voice, we the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen, hey. Yeah.
We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. We about to have a good conversation. Yeah, let's go. Praying for truth cause the world is so fickle. Keeping my mental, how clean is a whistle. Attention's a trap, they can lead you astray. Steering this ship through the storm and the haze. Real conversations are lost in the greed. Others get lost in the web that it weaves. Sift through the rhetoric, uncover schemes. Knowledge inherited, this is imperative. I got a lot on my mind and I'm sharing it. Apples to oranges, it ain't no comparisons. I'm the type that'll never break character. I'm the type to make memories and cherish them. Trust intuition and doubt of disparity. Pursuing the echoes of wisdom. Chasing that moment of clarity. Conversation, rather one if you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen. Conversation, rather one if you need it. Come fill up your tank before it's depleted. Don't care if you calling on Allah, Jesus, Buddha or Christian, not being facetious. Come to the track with the students and teachers. All got a voice, who the ears that'll listen. Who the ears that'll listen. We the ears that'll listen.
It's on you, tell the truth.
Peace, everyone. I am Universe Badger, and I would like to take a moment out. I want to introduce Gilly, and then take a moment out to talk about why Moon Tortoise isn't here. So this is Gilly.
How you doing, Al?
And then we got the bubble DDH. So Moon Tortoise I want to take a moment. I want everybody who loves the podcast, who loves Unseen Twisted Truths, who loves Twisted Radio, anything that we do that loves what we do. Let's take a moment, everybody, and give our thoughts and our energy to Moon Tortoise's father. Tom's not doing really well. He has to have a stent put in, and if that don't work, then maybe heart surgery. So let's just take a moment and put our energy onto healing energy onto Tom and Moon Tortoise at this moment. Okay. I want to talk. I want to have Gilly take the show over. We're going to talk about the anatomy of war, and go ahead, Gil.
Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the title itself. What does that mean? The anatomy of war. And I made it specific to the war that's going on in the Middle East right now, but I do want to acknowledge there are other wars that have been going on. Ukraine is still defending itself. Some would argue that there are domestic wars going on here, particularly with the immigrant population. So I think that when we look at war, we tend to take a stance, whether that be war in our own personal lives, war in our own psyche, or wars that are going on in the world. And this particular war hit home literally for me. I am the first generation born in America on my father's side. My father was the 14th generation on his maternal side, born in Israel. I have currently family members that are over there that I don't have contact with, and I don't know how they're doing. And the conflict in the Middle East has shaped me in a lot of ways, as any ancestral conflict would shape any people or person. Um, Not just because of the atrocities of war, but because people come home from that and they raise families, and it doesn't mean that they always pass on trauma, but they do pass on the stories. So they become part of your personal narrative and can create possible biases, but can also give a window to understanding um, that can make the conversation more productive towards solution, um, instead of hate. And after the attack on October 6th, after the massacre of over 1,000 people and kidnappings and murders and rapes, what I saw was just the beginning of, I believe, a rise in anti-Semitism, in which a lot of people are looking at this through that lens. I saw people celebrating. I saw people celebrating on all sides um, of the aisle, both people who support Jews and who don't. Um, for instance, there's a population of people who um, are celebrating because they think that it's going to usher in the second coming of Jesus. That still means that they're objectifying an entire people and sort of trivializing what they just went through, and dismissing it in terms of when looking at the current reaction. And although I do not agree with everything that they are doing, there are multiple pieces to this. And so when I was coming up with the title, The Anatomy of the War in the Holy Land, what I was trying to um, articulate is that war doesn't just break out, right? It's not just a, suddenly we have an enemy and war breaks out. These are things that have been going on, particularly in that region, since the inception. And there are multiple players, often unseen, and multiple actions that are often unseen. And so it's important to deconstruct, to gain a better understanding of what's going on there. because I think everybody would agree that a loss of life, particularly children, is never okay. And that's never something to celebrate or to aim for. However, we can't ignore the causation and only focus on what we're being presented with. And so my first question is, and let's go around. When you hear the title, "The Anatomy of War," in mind for you, what do you think are the key components of war?
For me, I love the title for the fact of that the anatomy consists of the heart and it's a body part. And I think the key points in the title is like that part. Like it's not just hate, it's also peace. And there's also a reason for the war from within. Like people are going off from feelings and things that have happened to them and past things that they have incurred. So like for me, I think that I love the title for the fact of that it represents both the duality of love and hate in one. Jabril, peace, peace.
Peace, peace. What up, Dove?
So what was the question again, Gil?
When you hear the title, "The Anatomy of War," what does that bring to mind? What do you think are the parts that play into war? Um, what do you think? What do you think makes up the parts of a war?
I think greed, of course, is disagreement, but I believe that greed is coming from America and just being America's occupation in so many different countries. I think it's based on greed and control, seeking to control power, in other places or to destabilize governments in other places. It's like it doesn't seem like we necessarily need to do that. So it's like excessive and wasteful and it's greedy, for the people who sell weapons, for the people who sell weapons, like they don't really have to have a political stake in the fight. They don't even have to have a moral stake in the fight of what side is right or wrong, or if I'm red or blue. Both sides of the weapons from these people. You know, so yeah, it seems like greed.
Um, I do have a question about that because, and we're going to deconstruct more. When you say that you think that greed is the motivator in this war, um, to me, I wonder where you're placing that greed, and if you think that hatred can ever be a motivation for war, because we can't forget that this started. Well, the conflict has been going on for years, but this particular one started with a massacre of over 1,000 people by Hamas, and children that still haven't been returned home, men and women that still haven't been returned home, and an ongoing threat that has gone on for centuries with certain groups to eliminate the Jews. Um, and on the other side of it, um, you have to act. If there's a threat, you have to if somebody declares themselves your enemy, you have to act. Um, you have to protect yourself and your people. So do you think that greed is necessarily, perhaps greed might be I agree that greed is probably a component for other people in the world that are involved. But between the two, do you think greed is a main motivator or hatred?
My, so, when did what year was that you were referencing? October 6th? What year was that?
2024 or 25. You know what? I have to look that up because I am a terrible historian when it comes to dates. Um, but that was what was the catalyst that started this current war.
I promise it
Hamas came
wasn't
in, they went into.
Gilly, relax. I promise it
Mhm.
wasn't 2025 because it hasn't happened yet. So it had to have been either 23 or 24.
24 then.
Or 'cause I'm thinking that this because I know that since like 1942, I believe. Um, so the concentration camps, World War II, um, Jews from the concentration camps, or those who were displaced from the countries in Europe, they were put into, was that a whole nother continent, or put in Palestine, which is a place where people already are living and have a society. And from my perspective, every year, those borders and the barriers that were set up to live together or peacefully, they it seemed like those borders expand for Israel more so and more so. And then you have our government, um, the American government, where our money goes directly into funding, or has been going into funding Israel ever since World War II. You know, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up to now we in 2025. And not just with money, but with our top of the line weaponry. It seems like occupation. It seems like
Are
when
you do you need to correct something historical? Because there was the only occupation that was happening, and it was under British occupation, actually. Um, not Israeli occupation. Um, and in 1948 was another, following a terrorist attack, was another move to instate the nation of Israel. And they didn't just come there after the Holocaust. Like, my father was 14th generation born there. So they were occupying that region. And many of the Palestinians were new from multiple Arab countries. So if you look at the DNA of Jewish people, we are ethnically tied to that region. This is not about religion. You're ethnically tied. And then the occupation that you speak of happened, I believe, in 1960, following multiple problems. But it wasn't until 1967 that happened.
so like I mean like so let's say gentrification. You know, we see it in the modern day. New businesses go up, taxes go up, um, expenses go up, rent, etc. But you know, Palestine itself, these Arabian countries, like before these modern day Arabs were there, or brown people, whatever the origin is, they actually gentrified those lands. They actually killed and occupied those lands. Like even how you have Egypt today, this new group of people who they try to assign to building the historical pyramids, like they even occupied that land from indigenous black people who lived there first. So I am curious, I am wondering, just on a universal cosmic level, is this some form of karma? And let's just say it's not even necessarily fair to the people who live there today to endure such atrocities, and um it's not necessarily fair to the innocent Jews who are suffering unnecessarily. Like I know there are many Jewish protesters who are protesting the war, who are protesting what seems to be the occupation in Gaza. And I say seem because what our government would do, and let's just say any old random country, they would find a source of rebels who didn't agree with the government, and they would fund them with money and weapons to cause destabilization and then to take over that land. Um, Go ahead.
I see where you're
I
going with that, and I actually have a question
Gil,
that's going to lead
Gil,
to that.
Gil,
So
Gil,
you can
Gil, 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 Gil. I have a question. I would like to know, is war to be resolved? Is it a reason for war? Is it because you want to understand somebody else's opinion or side or feelings or fact, or because you want yours heard? So for war, do you think that it's because they don't feel fair, treated fairly on one side over another? I do see where it's greed, and I do see where it's power, and I do see
I
where it's
think there's
taking.
a history of um, a government in place that in their own mission statement seeks for the annihilation of Jews, particularly in that area, but also all over the world. Many of the refugees that showed up from Israel showed up as well as the refugee or as well as the Arab refugees. And we have to understand when we talk about the state of Israel, it is a multicultural, multi-religious state. So there are Arab Jews. I mean, there are Arab, well, there are Arab Jews too, but there are Arab Israelis. There are Palestinian Israelis. There are Palestinians that have citizenship. Um, there are um, there are multiple, many Christians there. There are many, and Israel is one of the only places where that's possible in the Middle East.
So I still ask a question, and you haven't answered it. I
Okay,
still
so
ask.
the question was, is it to get your point heard? Do I think that they did it to get their point heard?
Yep.
The
Or
massacre or the retaliation?
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. One started because of another. It doesn't matter. At the beginning, why do we have conversations? Is it because we want to be heard, or is it because we want to receive?
I think that it's both. I think that conversations um, are, open discourse, particularly on high conflict subjects where people are very sensitive because of their own experiences and backgrounds, are not conversations not only that are easy to have, but that are becoming harder to have as we have technology that sort of feeds us our own biases. And as we sort of have this tribal sort of mindset, you got to find your tribe. That's what everybody says, find your tribe, find your tribe. Well, we are essentially becoming people who are used to custom lives, right? The people around us tend to be the same. The values that they have tend to be the same. The lifestyle they have tend to be the same. And so, and when we're bombarded with that on technology too, we're no longer having conversations that will help us understand the other. And I
I agree
think
with
that
that.
that's really important.
And I agree with that. And I think on this podcast,
So I
though,
think that
on
the
this
point of the
podcast, though,
conversation.
Gilly, on this podcast, though, we're going to let Jabril say his opinion, and then we're going to say our opinion, because that's all they are, because neither of us are standing at the war lines.
Oh,
We're
I
having
wasn't discounting his opinion.
You're
I
right.
was not discounting his opinion. I was saying I understand that greed can be a major component of war. I believe that there are other players that are involved for their own greedy or self-serving purposes. Sometimes a self-serving purpose, though, is an indoctrinated hate. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
So,
well,
so
let him finish his statement, though, without interruption.
For sure, yeah, I'm up to have a nice, fun conversation. It don't, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, from the outside looking in, like it was definitely blasphemous, or it was like you don't speak against the Jews. The Jews suffered. The Jews suffered the Holocaust. They suffer. You don't speak against them. But it seems like in these last few months, with images, videos coming out about the destruction, bombing the hospitals, strategically bombing refugee sites where Palestinian people are shackled up, not allowing the civilians to get food. It's almost like a genocide, strategic genocide. That's what the optics are. And so, and it becomes a question like, the injustices that the Jews face. I mean, even with, Germany or the other European countries who have um, band together to, I guess be comfortable enough to kick Jews out of their country for whatever reason they did. I don't know. But the 1,000 people that died, or 1,000 plus people that died October 6th or 7th, like, I'm pretty sure that in Gaza they reached that 1,000 death toll already. Like, I'm pretty sure that the damage that is being carried out as we even speak right now has reached that point. And it makes me question, like, what is the purpose of the war? And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? It's not the innocent Jewish or the innocent Palestinians' fault. But it just makes me wonder, like, what is the purpose? Because we have so much land in America. We have so many empty states here in America. We have so much land just on this planet in general. Why in the world would they purposely place Jews seeking asylum, seeking a new start in their own land? Why would they purposely place them where there's going to be tension? I just don't get that. And then purposely supply them with money and weapons for all of these years. Like, it's just it's like I think it's greed. It's probably greed, and it's a very weird situation. It's a very weird situation. And there's so many blood sacrifices. Like, it's so many unnecessary blood sacrifices. So it has to be something very devious and dark. And the enemy can definitely
you mean,
utilize.
what do you mean by blood sacrifices?
We still have to ask Chili Mo what he thinks of the whole title, babe.
Okay. Oh, blood sacrifices, casualties of war.
Okay.
Casualties of war. You know, like these are, you know,
Oh, Jabral, you went dead. No, your microphone. We can't hear you, Jabral.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I mean, like these deaths, they are attributed to spiritual forces or people who have religious ideologies or who do devotions and worships to gods. You know, like blood sacrifices are attributed. Like there are cults, there are satanic organizations, you know, who conduct blood sacrifices, and war. Not just this war, but all wars have produced many blood sacrifices. So, what's this? What's the solution here? It's so freaking crazy. Like, a war should be fought on the chessboard. War should be fought with paintball guns and airsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like, war should be fought in a way where, regardless of what your ideology is, religious, it doesn't matter. Democrat don't matter. Human life should be valued and respected and cherished and loved. But that doesn't seem to be the goal of the powers that are orchestrating things.
I believe war should have a resolution. I think there's a purpose, should be a purpose, and should have a resolution, not for bloodshed. I think it's that's just my opinion. Go ahead, Gil.
Well, I think you brought up a few really good points. One is he spoke about, oh, I just had it too. The optics of war. And it is my belief that art, music, people telling the stories, and now we can include media and the way that media is immediately available to all of us at all the time, has become a major weapon of war. Optics has become a major weapon of war, particularly in gaining allies or creating enemies. And you spoke about, you know, the refusal of food or the bombing in civilian places. However, it's also important to note that Israel puts out leaflets saying we are going to bomb this area because this is where we've tracked Hamas. And I do want to make it very clear, you know, we need to use the word genocide with respect to what the word actually means. Israel's intent, whether we agree with their actions, Israel's intent is to rid the region of Hamas, not the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people have been trying to flee when they've gotten the notifications, and they've been stopped by Hamas. They've been murdered by their own government, their own power, their own leadership. They've been stonewalled from the surrounding countries from entering as refugees. Hamas often enters the home and takes the keys of you know, the people so they can't leave their house. Hamas is creating human shields. And why would they do that? My opinion, optics. Why would the surrounding countries refuse to let the Palestinian people in or do something proactively to feed them? Why? Because of optics. The Palestinian peoples are absolutely victims of the people that are in power. But we have to understand that their own people, their own leaders are putting them in vulnerable positions because optics is a powerful tool of war.
So let's ask your bro, what does he think of that one?
I think you know, as a conspiracy considerer, um, I don't know much about Hamas. I do wonder if Hamas or the leaders in Palestine were democratically elected, meaning they were voted in by the majority of the people. Um,
The majority of the people support him, 70%.
so if that is to be the case, then the war is not just against this group called Hamas, like, and the war is against the people. If Hamas is a genuine organization in its beginning, meaning it's not like ISIS, which was a terrorist group over here, but supposedly they have funding and backing from our government, or
UN recognizes them as a terrorist group along with ISIS and others like them, and
right.
they recognize themselves as one.
But
So
the origin of ISIS, though, and its funding and its backing came from the U.S. government, or at least that is what people say. I can't say that's fact or not. Allegedly, I'll just say allegedly. And so I just wonder, like, are these covert tactics? Are these just said to justify bombing? Or I heard a rumor that Hamas is getting a leg treated at this hospital. So now we have to blow up this hospital with people who are injured from previous attacks already, you know. And then I wonder if the people that aren't allowing, I say the cowardly, supposedly Muslim countries, the cowardly Muslim countries who are not allowing Palestinian refugees into their country is because they fear Israel. Like, Israel is like the boogeyman. Like, Israel is like Voldemort.
I'm
When it
gonna.
comes,
What do you mean by that? Because I think that I think that it's important in a conversation where we're looking for a solution that we don't refer to any peoples as something other than human.
so Israel,
Um,
I'm listening.
because first of all, Israel is about a pimple on the back of the Middle East in terms of size, right? Um, Jews are not allowed in most Arab countries. There are very few places that Jews are allowed to travel and to live in most Arab countries. So to be afraid of of Israel, who has never started a war, they have always responded to some sort of attack or threat from terrorist organizations that are not only there in Palestine but that are surrounding. Um, so I guess I'm curious to know what what makes you think that people are afraid, and what do you think goes into making people afraid of Israel? Do you think that it's based on factual things, or do you think that it may be based on who's controlled the narrative?
And that's so yeah, that is a narrative that is out there. And I would say it, the US is pretty much like Israel's lapdog, or pit bull. Um, like like seriously, any type of criticizing of Jewish people or Israel is met with anti-defamation lawsuits. It's led with being labeled an anti-Semite. You know, it's met with that. It's like a curse word. It's like we, as the world, have been culturally influenced to show the utmost respect to the Holocaust and the survivors of the Holocaust, and you know, just the Jewish people in general. So when it comes to speak anything that is not positive or passive about Jewish people, anytime you don't do that, you automatically met with severe consequences. Like just like even me being able to have this conversation now is based off of, I don't know, just courage or just opportunity. You know what I'm saying? The podcast, this is Unseen Twisted Truths, like, or people in general kind of feeling a little bit of ways about this whole war. It's like it does feel like Voldemort. You know, it does. Like if you can't say his name, if you speak their name, they're gonna come, they're gonna pull up on you. Like there's consequences for that.
Can you give an example of where that happened? And I'm asking you because I've actually seen a rise in anti-Semitism and the acceptance of anti-Semitism. We wouldn't tell you, like I said, Jews are genetically traced. It's an ethnicity. We put religion aside. Most Jews are, many Jews, at least over half, are secular, meaning they don't have any religious beliefs. But ethnically, we are people, and we are genetically tied. So like Filipino people are genetically tied to the Philippines. Mexican people are genetically tied to Mexico. Jews are the only ones that are genetically tied to that region. Um, However, and I'm not saying that I believe that only Jews should exist there. I believe that everybody should be able to exist there in harmony and in peace and with religious freedom and with cultural freedom. And the more diverse the population, the better. So I do want to make that clear. But when you say that, eh, you face major backlash when um, criticizing the Jews, I, as a Jew, have experienced the opposite. People in my family have experienced the opposite. My father, not once but twice, went to work to see a Nazi symbol posted behind his desk, and went home to see another Nazi symbol painted onto his garage. Um, and not much was done about it other than what he did about it. Is a rise of anti-Semitism and anti-Jewish speaking on college campuses in particular. And people are in support of that. There's even many Jews that are joining in, that are in support. And I don't know if they're joining in out of fear or out of agreement, but
So
I
I
think
I
that
sent something to Jabril, and I wanted him to look at it and read what I found.
Where'd you send it?
Messenger.
Yeah, I'm concerned if I go to it, it's gonna disconnect me from the stream. Next time I have a laptop next to me. Um,
Because I
okay.
can't really see it well.
But to go back, so I know for a fact, like Louis Farrakhan, spoke out about. So when it even comes to narratives, the media itself, a lot of the news, a lot of the entertainment industry, especially hip hop, rap, a lot of those are owned by Jewish people. There was a purposeful uh, gangsterfying, prison, uh, prison influencing type of rap or music put out there to get people to fill up private prisons, and that was promoted, or degeneration or degradation, basically, of culture and society. That was purposefully, promoted by Jewish people, right? Now, is it fair for you as a Jewish woman to take the blame of that? And no, it's not fair at all. Nobody wants to be the boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be. And the thing about Louis Farrakhan, he was actually banned from like all social media in 2020. He was banned from TV for like 20 years, you know. And so like nobody wants to be necessarily the boogeyman or the bad guy. But the thing is,
Well, I think that the problem is that calling anybody the boogeyman or the bad guy, one, it insinuates that these people were hidden, they weren't. That doesn't excuse what they did, but that's an industry problem. That was an industry problem. That the Jews did not control the industry. But
I searched why the U.S.
I
protects.
can.
I searched why does the U.S. protect Israel, and that's what I was going to have someone read.
the U.S. has provided strong support for Israel. It has played a key role in promotion of good relations between Israel and its neighboring Arab states. In turn, Israel provides a strategic American foothold in the region, as well as intelligence and advanced technological partnerships. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Israel is surrounded by oil. It runs the world currently. Oil or gold and all the resources in Africa, like those things basically run the world currently. So that does seem to be a strategic necessarily trade-off for the protection of Israel or Jewish people. But the thing is this though, like nobody wants to be the bad guy, right? And nobody wants to be the bad guy, but however, not wanting to be a bad guy usually makes people end up doing everything that bad people do by not being accountable, by not speaking up, by not separating yourself from the forces that are in power. Just as you said that's an industry problem, the military complex is the industry problem.
Do you think that Hamas has a foothold in being one of the powers if they're holding their own people in? Do you think that surrounding countries play a part in that? Surrounding Arab nations play a part in that by not allowing people in? Do you think that Hamas plays a part in that by teaching not just the people, not just through the media with adults, but from a very young age, they are bombarded with anti-Semitic, which is kind of ironic because Arabs and Jews are both Semitic people, but anti-Semitic meaning anti-Jew content
Very,
that teaches them from a very young age to not only but to hate, to despise the Jews, and to believe that it's an act of God to rid them from the land.
I mean, that's like why,
So you got to look at their own power.
Like why though? Like why would a people say like why? There has to be justification. Maybe it's not, but there has to be a reason why that narrative is even a theme. And maybe it's not. And even if it is by something that happened in the past, as long as those practices aren't still occurring today, there is no need for them to be genetically annihilated. My thing is this: why not just move why not just move to a place where there's no conflict? All of the millions of dollars, or excuse me, billions of dollars that we send to Israel, it's so bad. Like, it's not just Israel. So much foreign aid goes out of this country, but it's all like switching. It's all switching. We got such a homeless problem here, but and food problem here, education problem here in America. But all of this aid is going out to these places, and the only reason it's going out to these places is so that we can have spies, we can have embassies set up in all these other lands, so we can have an eye on all of these other people, so that we can sabotage all of these other people. Like, and I don't think it's fair to the human beings. I don't think it's fair to the Jewish human beings. I don't think it's fair to the Palestinians. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's fair to none of the everyday human beings. You know, but I do think that it's silly to force yourself to be there. Is it hate? I'm sure. I know it is. It's some racist devils. You know what I'm saying? It's some racist devils out here who, I don't know, anything ethnic, anything indigenous, anything like that, they want to kill. But the thing is, too, if people don't tell you that they Jewish, you would just think that they're another white person at the same time, you know. So it's so many covert, it's so many slips, there's so much manipulation, there's so many tricks and tactics. At the end of the day, I really think that they should just leave. I think that Israel should leave. If we want to keep spending the money, keep spending the money. I don't care. I don't control where that money goes, but if it's not, if it's for the saving of the Jewish race, because I don't think Israel is being bombed. I don't know. I don't know what type of attacks. I know it don't look like Palestine. I know it don't look like Gaza. You know what I'm
But
saying?
you can research the history, and there is not only the massacre, but there are multiple terrorist attacks, not just on Israel, but by Hamas on the Palestinian people, on people in other Arab nations, on Israelis, or on Jews. So Hamas is the terrorist organization that they're trying to get out, not the Palestinian people.
And this to play.
Nobody is in favor of the Palestinian people being rid. And as far as why don't they just leave? I think that's as offensive to say as why don't
say it.
Why don't Black people leave America if there was so much conflict for them? Why? Because they've established home here. Because even less people are here, and
hold on, Gilly. Because they're not from somewhere else. They're born here.
Well, Jews are not from somewhere else either. We are ethnically tied to that land.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just because of someone's skin color doesn't mean they're from somewhere else.
True.
I wasn't saying that, but I'm saying the equivalent of, or it would be like going to the Philippines and saying Filipino people leave because now these people are here and they don't want you here.
But check this out, though.
Or to the indigenous people of the Americas.
Why don't
you just leave?
Gilly, let them finish because we're going on the hour mark. So
let me check this out, though. This is the difference, though. Black people, we were, some of our blood was already here. We traveled the earth for millions of years. Some of our blood was already here, for one thing. For two, there was no America, and there would not be an America if it wasn't for that slave trade. If it was not for that slave trade, that there were, Jewish funding did go into that slave trade as well, and there were many Jewish plantations in all throughout the Caribbean as well. But that's a whole nother thing. But we built this country literally. Centuries of unpaid labor, rape, sacrifices, rape of the men, women, and the children, selling off men, women, and children. What the Jews are going through, does not in no way compare on any type of level what we went through and what we still going through to this day.
Well,
Police have killed more.
Wait a
Police
minute.
in this country have killed more people than the Jews. Police in this country have killed more people than that 1,000 or whatever. There have been so many black towns that we've established and built here on this land, and we got bombed by the same government.
1,000%.
got
And
bombed
so
and
for
killed
me
by
to
the
say,
same
why don't you
government.
just leave if there's conflict,
This
is
is why.
offensive,
This is why.
correct?
This is why they answer
Because
it. There would be
Jews
no
have been exiled from not just there. Jews have been
many
exiled from
countries.
hundreds of
Why?
countries.
Why?
They've been why? Because the world likes a scapegoat, and you should
Because
understand that.
Because the greedy, no, the
You should
scapegoat is the
understand
black.
that.
The scapegoat is the black people of America. That's the world scapegoat. The greed that the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the greed that these trillionaires have, and that y'all are sitting back and enjoying the benefits of, the greed that they have.
Sitting back enjoying the benefits of. I'm not enjoying the benefits of it. I'm homeless. What are you talking about?
Okay, you may not be tapped in. You may not be tapped in. But
Like, I'm not enjoying the benefit of any of that. And if you most banks,
check
by
this
the
out,
way,
though.
are
Check this out.
not
Let me
doing
finish my
that.
point. Let me
That's
finish my
Nazi
point.
propaganda left over because Jews were only allowed to be bankers.
But if they charge interest, if it's not just the banking, it's charging predatory interest rates that people can never pay back, and so you have to
But Jews don't
exchange
own most of the
land.
banks, and Jews don't own most of the wealth. There are only like 14 million Jews left in the world compared to billions of other people.
The white race is 10%
Because
of
of a
the
recent
planet.
genocide in our
The white
history.
race is only 10% of the planet. So of course it's not going to be that many Jews, but however, if you can organize, if you could be on code and you could organize and you could have the same practices everywhere you go, especially to a people who welcome you in and let you in and come in and show you how to grow food and do this, that, and the third and survive, and you exploit that because you're
Who did
organized.
that? They did not do that. The Palestinian people did not do that. Jews came in and they agriculturalized the land. They took the worst land in attempts to keep peace. They
The
took the
borders
worst
keep
land,
growing.
and
Israel
it
borders keep growing.
ended the present occupation at the time because it was presently at that time occupied by the British people.
Now
I have to put a pin in this because we have 3 minutes to the end. I have to put a pin in this. This has to be either another subject, another time, or something. There has to be a part 2 of it, or there has to be something, but I have to end it to get some kind of resolution because with every conversation, we have to have some kind of middle ground of overstanding.
Let me say this. The Jews have been getting payment from the Holocaust and what they endured. The black men in America has not even received reparations. We have not received reparations. However, we built this country.
Black people should receive reparations. I am not against anything that you're saying about the way that black people were brought here or treated here. I am saying that is a totally separate issue, and Jews have not received any reparations ever.
This is why you can't compare. Israel gets those reparations, but this is
No,
why
they do not. Israel is paid for their intelligence because America finds them strategically placed.
Right. That's political jargon. But we'll get to it. The reason why they could leave because they didn't build Palestine. They didn't spend centuries. They didn't spend centuries building Palestine. They didn't centuries.
I'm the daughter of a 14th
300 years. 300 years.
Generation.
Well,
I am the daughter of a 14th
we built this country. You can't tell us it's not equal at all to say that we should leave America. No, we built this country. Y'all didn't build Palestine.
I don't think that you should leave America. I said that it was an offensive statement
it's not
to say.
Equivalent. No,
and
it's
that if
not.
the same statement was made, you would find it offensive. And you are proving my point because you took offense to it.
No, I didn't take offense to it. It's just factually
and you
wrong.
assumed that what I meant was that I agreed with that statement. No, I find that statement deplorable. I find that statement deplorable to say to any people, that you have to leave your home that you've been in my family for centuries, that built up that country, that made it better, that welcomed all peoples from all nations and all religions. It is the only democratic place in the Middle East. The only.
I don't believe it.
So
I do not believe it. I do not believe what you just said. But
you
I
don't
can't.
have to
I
believe
don't
it, but you
believe it.
can
I
research
do
it.
not believe it because deception is real. Deception is real. Okay.
So
It's real, but where is the deception
I
coming
have to
from?
put a pin in it because we're at the hour mark. I have to put a pin in it. We're at the hour mark. I have to come up with some kind of ending or wrapping up of this subject because it will never end.
True.
It will never end. So we have to come up with some kind of wrapping of it because just like war, there has to be a reason for it. And I don't see a reason for it. And I don't see a reason for this conversation. And I don't see a reason why somebody would have to leave their country. And I didn't like the offense of what was said. I'm against that, what was said, because that is not fair, because that's a false statement. And I'm not talking about just over in Israel. I'm talking about in general, all of it. Because at the end of the day, we're going off of what we feel and what we were told and what we believe. And we're entitled to that. Everybody's entitled to that. We're all one, though.
It's pride. It's pride.
It is pride.
Pride.
All wars are pride.
I'm sorry, kid. It's pride. It's
Also
like
preservation. When somebody has put themselves in power and said that they want you gone, that their
All war
mission
is
statement
pride.
is to have you gone.
All war is
That's
pride.
also preservation.
All war is pride.
nobody else should die. Nobody else should die for like Jews or Palestinians. Like nobody
No,
else
and they're
should
trying
die.
to come to peace resolutions.
So right. Well, what's the real resolution though? That's the
Say-
thing. What's the best resolution?
Let's
So-
say one thing. Let's wrap this up, and we're going to say one thing. What do you think the resolution should be, Gilly?
So I had an experience with somebody.
No,
who,
what do you think the resolution should be? That's what I asked.
I am talking about it.
I don't want
Having
the story.
these conversations, because the reality is that once we get through these conversations, and once we actually weigh facts against facts, and are able to passionately disagree, but still be able to listen to each other until we reach a better understanding of one another, until we re-educate with the actual history and the actual facts, not omitting things because it doesn't work for your narrative, or not including optics that make one person look like the end, or one people look like the enemy, and the other one, while the enemy is actually within, is important. And I think that it's important. I heard on something that I was listening tonight, that an important question that we need to ask ourselves is how do we disarm our enemies without harming them? And I think that's through sitting together, having the conversations, and looking for commonalities.
Okay. And we do let each other speak equally. We do. I swear we do. We're at the hour mark, and we're about to get shut off from our streams everywhere. So, Jabril, what do you think?
To be a solution. I
Yeah.
already said it. I think the best solution is get them a state somewhere else, or because they're not going to forgive. The Palestinians are never going to forgive Israel. Israel seems like they're never going to forgive the Palestinians. So, as long as they coexist next to each other, it's going to be conflict unless they have pride. I mean, unless they have I don't know. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, whoever is the bully, whoever is the aggressor, needs to leave. That's simple. Whoever is the aggressor, whoever is the bully, whoever has gotten the most bodies, whoever death toll is higher, the other person needs to leave, because that's pretty much it. You know, it's so much land on this planet. It's so much land on this planet. If the goal is the preservation of the Jewish race, if their goal is the preservation, then they need to leave. That's the only way they're gonna be preserved, because karmically, it is not looking good. It is not looking good.
So I have to ask, Chili Mo, do you want to tell us what do you think the solution is?
No, I have a comment.
Okay. I do believe it's pride. I do believe it's greed. I do believe it's anything evil against us. I do believe a narrative is painted. I do believe nobody knows facts. You can't look up facts and believe what you see. Nobody knows really what's real. It's all an illusion, and it's all for a game and a reason. I don't see no end in war. I don't see no resolution in war. I don't see no end in anything that has to do with bloodshed. And it goes back thousands of years. We've took from the people that started off this country, and nobody can give them that. Nobody can make no sense to that. No one can make them feel better about that. There's no right here. There's no wrong here. It's a narrative that's painted for a reason. We're going to say one positive thing to end this show. And I just want to hear a positive thing, because there's a reason and I don't know what it is, and it's not my place. What's a positive thing, Gilly? One positive thing.
Can you come back to me? I'd like to go last, if that's possible.
Okay.
Or before, you know. I know you always go last.
Okay. What's one positive thing? Chili Mo, one positive thing, since you hadn't had a comment. Just give us a positive thing.
Okay. Every lesson, lesson.
Okay. Jabril, one positive thing.
Love and true love is important, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot to sacrifice a lot of pride and greed and ego and things to get through. But like, if you can reach that point of love and true love and understanding, and always be open to understand and learn more, then you're gonna be on the right track. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be on the right track.
So I want to read what Philip wrote, or do you want to? Somebody want to read what Philip wrote, because I can't really see it. So
Until we act
go ahead.
Until we act and believe we are one people, there will always be division. All we can do is start with ourselves and walk forward.
that will be my positive message. Gilly, go ahead.
My positive message is, I like that statement, because the truth is, there are facts. There are facts.
There's no truth. Stop. It's painted for a side always.
But if we are willing to look at the fact as the facts and not with our own opinion, then we can begin to dissect and understand how they became, or how they came to be. And we can have compassion for our enemies as humans, because the real enemies are not the ones that are on the ground. The enemies are the ones at the top that are hiding and playing puppet master. And there are more of us than there are groups then there are groups of hate. And be willing to look past any boogeyman story and just talk to your neighbor.
Okay.
I can dig it.
I can dig it too. May everyone's night be full of positive energy and high vibration. Thank you for allowing us into your home, your heart, your ears, and your time. And yes, it was a good episode. And thank you for everybody for tuning in. And much love. And Jabril, you're more than welcome at any time. You know that you started this with me. So peace and love, everyone.
Peace and love, everybody.
Let's get to the bottom of this one. Unspoken truths that I miss one. Tap into the minds of the people. Rather acknowledge before I dismiss one. Atheists, Muslim, Christians, Buddhists, they all got usage. All got perspective. It's a collective. Get to the bottom where the truth is. With our hearts uncovered. Where you detox from all of the lies you smothered. What them tries could have killed you. But with faith you recovered. Yup. Peel off the makeup, we finna take off. Never said it'd be a cakewalk. Meditate till we charged up. Execute goes regardless. Decalcify my pineal. Breaking language barriers, we saw millennials. Planets passing age rotations, down me we owe. So down me we know. Sometimes we can be slow, that's why my ears open. Every drop you add could complete the ocean. Speak up, play your part too. Been vulnerable, it's so hard to.